So, hello, hi Erica.
Hi, Kim.
And when we were planning session six, which we did earlier this week, um, we realised that we hadn't spent really any time so far on the programme um, discussing that four-letter word, hope. And so we agreed that what we'd do is, rather than take up the time during the session next Wednesday, that we'd record a very short video, just kind of sharing our thoughts about that. So that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. So Hope, what's the first thing you want to say?
That we both know that there's a lot of nonsense talked about hope, that hope is confused with optimism,
Mm-hmm.
um, in the sense that people sometimes believe that you need to have optimism about a constructive, positive outcome before you will take action. And that we know that that just doesn't make any sense because we have absolutely no idea what the outcome is going to be of anything that we do. And it is certainly not true that people need a particular, we're conditioned to believe that we need a particular outcome, but actually that's not so. The the joy of taking action is inherent in the action itself rather than needing it to lead in a particular direction. Now, we're all very much in the habit, we're all very conditioned to talk in those terms. It's got to lead, A has to lead to B, has to lead to C. But we all know stuff isn't linear anyway. And even if it were, that wouldn't be true
Yeah,
because we all do what feels right in the moment.
yeah. So
And
it's all too entangled for that.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I, I think I agree with you. There's a lot of nonsense talked about it. You know, well, you've got to have hope, haven't you?
mm,
And I think it's often, uh, I think it's very important to learn to detach from outcome. Um, and as Joanna Macy says, to be neither hopeful nor hopeless, but rather hope free. And that's certainly something that feels much more real and alive for me now than it used to. And that means, as you say, detaching from outcome. It feels to me like a coin, where one side is hope, and the flip side of the coin is fear. And I hear a lot of people, use the word hope or kind of cling to that, or actually more often it's hopium rather than hope, um, to avoid having to face feelings that they find very uncomfortable, uh, like fear and so on. So it's almost like kind of you're bargaining with the universe somehow. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and I also, Michael Dowd used to say a lot, who I have a great respect for, who's now passed, unfortunately, but he used to say hope was a lot like liquid. Some liquids will nourish you and some will kill you. And so the important question then becomes, what is it that you're hoping for? Um, and as you said, it's about doing the next thing that makes sense, telling a story with your life that you're proud to tell. What I hope for is that I can spend however many years I'm lucky enough to have left, supporting other people to find what is theirs to do. Um, and I don't have any idea how that's going to turn out, but
Mm.
that just feels like what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very taken with Joanna Mace's definition of what she calls active hope, um, and what she calls that is a readiness to discover the size and strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our love for life, the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected well of patience and diligence, the
Wow,
keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And as you said, you know, feeling hope-free, or that kind of active hope, as Joanna Macy describes it, does not translate into a lack of agency or action. I learned that from hundreds and hundreds of people in the deep adaptation. And it's been true in my own experience.
Yes.
So, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's the other myth, isn't it? That you know, people won't act unless they've got hope, which is in the sense of optimism. Whereas I think you and I see hope as more like a trusting, you know, trusting the universe. Because if you know, if, as I think we all feel, that you know, the universe is a single interconnected web, you know, our tweak at this end, no matter how small or whatever, does ripple right across. You know, and but sitting in an armchair doing nothing in a state of despair or
or optimism. Yeah.
Well, whatever. Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because you know, both optimism and pessimism are both places of no agency, because optimism is saying, oh, it's all going to be all right, I haven't got to do anything, or pessimism is saying it's all fucked, there's no point to me doing anything. You know, both those are equally they're negating why we're alive.
Yes.
You know, we're here, our lives have meaning because we are playing our parts, you know, in that web of life. And we you know, each and every one of us has a crucial little job, might not be so little, but you know, a crucial little job to do. And not doing it is kind of depriving the world of you know, it's like one of your organs suddenly stopped working, you know, it won't go so well. So you know, your job is just to find what motivates you, you know, what gets you out of bed in the morning, whatever it might be, and go and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we're saying, as we bring this to a close, that a better word for us anyway might be trust, or even faith in the non-religious sense.
Yeah.
Faith in the greater intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a famous Václav Havel quote about hope's not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense, you know, regardless of how it turns. You know, just doing stuff makes sense. Doesn't matter where it goes. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. That was great. I'll stop recording.